What if your life falling apart is not a tragedy, but an invitation from destiny? When everything collapses, maybe it's not punishment, but preparation. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." So what if your struggles are not walls, but fuel for the fire within you? You're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. And that makes you dangerous. Viktor Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's where transformation begins. Every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment is carving you into someone stronger. This isn't the end of your story. This is your reset button, your moment to rise. Because legends are never born in comfort, they are forged in the fire. And today the fire is calling your name. In this video, I'll share 8 Stoic morning rituals, practiced by emperors, warriors, and leaders. Apply just one, and your life may never be the same. So take a breath, lift your head. Your new beginning starts right now the Stoic way. Part 1, Face Mortality, Memento, Mori. What if the biggest lie we've ever believed is that we still have time? Think about it. We delay our dreams until someday we wait for courage to find us, and we postpone change until we feel ready. But Marcus Aurelius warned us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Take a breath. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Say it with me. Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. Now here's the twist. Stoicism doesn't use death to depress us. It uses death to focus us. Modern research shows that 92% of people die with unfulfilled goals. Not because they failed, but because they thought they had more time. Naval Ravikant once said, "The most common addiction in the world is the addiction to distraction." Why do we get distracted? Because we think life is long. But when you understand mortality, life becomes urgent. Life becomes powerful. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I live it the same way? This question ends procrastination instantly. It cuts through noise. It builds clarity. Say it with me again. Memento Mori. Every time your focus drifts, reset. Every 45 seconds, reset. Breathe in purpose. Breathe out distraction. Even the emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every morning, not for fame, but for discipline. In his private journal, he wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." So imagine this. If you truly believed you were on borrowed time, would your decisions be braver? Would your relationships be deeper? Would your time matter more? You already know the answer. Steve Jobs used this principle too. He said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered for making big life decisions." He looked in the mirror every morning and asked, if today were the last day of my life, would I still do what I'm about to do today? And if the answer was no for too many days in a row, he changed direction. You don't need more motivation. You need urgency. You don't need more time. You need clarity. So here's your Stoic challenge. For the next 7 days, write this on your phone lock screen. You could leave life right now. Let it shape every decision you make. Let it sharpen your priorities, not recklessly, but intentionally. Psychologists call this temporal compression. When your sense of time shrinks, your life becomes more vivid, more focused, more real. It's not about fearing death. It's about respecting life. One last reset. Say it with me, Memento Mori. Not to be scared, but to be alive. And if this awakens something in you, don't let it fade. Because in the next part, we uncover the ritual that shaped Marcus Aurelius' mind every morning, a ritual that brings clarity before the chaos of the day arrives. Stay with me as we dive into Stoic Morning Ritual number 2, the power of journaling. Part 2, Morning Journaling, Clear the Mind. Let me ask you something important. When you wake up, who controls your mind? You or the world around you? The average person checks their phone within 3 minutes of waking up. That means their mind is instantly flooded with noise, opinions, comparison, stress, anxiety. And once the day begins with chaos, it rarely returns to peace. But Marcus Aurelius did something different. He started every morning with journaling, not to show off, not to write beautifully, but to train his mind. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And journaling is the first step toward mastery. Neuroscientists discovered that writing your thoughts down can reduce stress by 47%, increase clarity, and even boost decision-making. It's not a diary, it's mental armor. Psychologist Dr. James Pennebaker proved that people who write for just 20 minutes a day become calmer, smarter, and more focused. That is not motivation, that is science. So here's the Stoic Morning Ritual. Before touching your phone, write three things. What I can control today, what I must let go, what truly matters. That's it. No poetry, no pressure, just clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote his fears, weaknesses, and doubts on paper because the page does not judge you. It frees you. Say it with me every 45 seconds, reset, breathe. My mind is my kingdom, and today I take back the throne. Let me give you a real example. David was overwhelmed by life, anxious every morning, reactive throughout the day. Then he tried this stoic journaling ritual for just 30 days. He wrote his fears. He wrote his priorities. He wrote what he couldn't control and let it go. The result, his anxiety dropped. His focus increased. He got promoted not because he worked more, but because he thought clearer. He said, I stopped reacting to life. I started directing it. That is stoicism in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So say it again out loud. I control my response, not the world. For the next 7 days, try this challenge. Write those 3 lines each morning, before your phone, before your coffee, before the world tries to shape your mind. Because the page isn't just paper, it's a mirror, and every word you write shows who you are and who you are becoming. Now listen carefully. If journaling clears the mind, what prepares the mind for unexpected challenges? The Stoics had a method so powerful, ancient warriors used it before every battle. Not to live in fear, but to walk into life with unshakable strength. Stay with me, because in part 3, we dive into Premeditatio Malorum, the art of imagining the worst to become your best. Part 3, the power of Premeditatio Malorum. What if preparing for the worst is not pessimism, but power? The Stoics believed something profound. We don't suffer because life is hard. We suffer because we expect it to be easy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness today. He wasn't being negative. He was being ready. This is Premeditatio Malorum, imagining what could go wrong, not to live in fear, but to walk into the day with strength. Science agrees. Harvard researchers found that preparing for adversity increases resilience by 32%. This is not philosophy, this is psychology. Not worry, but strategy. Not fear, but training. Reset moment. Take a breath. Say it with me. Obstacles are training. Tomorrow morning, write 3 simple lines. What might go wrong today? How will I respond like a Stoic? And how can I grow from it? This 5-minute ritual turns anxiety into clarity, problems into lessons, and obstacles into fuel. Because the one who prepares rarely panics. Michael Phelps visualized every possible failure before every race, even his goggles filling with water. And when it truly happened, he didn't hesitate. He was ready. He won gold. That is stoicism in action. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your response. Say it again. This is training. This is shaping me. And now that your mind is prepared for adversity, it's time to face a silent enemy, comfort. Stay with me, because in part 4, we uncover why comfort can kill ambition and how controlled discomfort builds legends. Part 4, controlled discomfort. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you did something uncomfortable on purpose? Not because you had to, but because you chose to grow. We live in the most comfortable era in human history, yet depression, anxiety, and loneliness are at their highest levels ever recorded. Comfort was supposed to bring peace, but instead it created weakness. Seneca warned us soft living makes us soft. And the Stoics understood comfort is not the reward of life, it is the test of life. Because nothing strong was ever born in safety. A tree only grows deep roots during storms. Muscles grow through tension and pain. Diamonds form under pressure. Strength is never an accident. Reset moment, breathe. Say it with me, comfort is a cage. The science agrees. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that avoiding discomfort trains the brain to react with panic, even to small challenges. But when we choose discomfort, cold showers, early mornings, Intense workouts, the brain rewires. Stress tolerance increases. Dopamine rises. Willpower grows. This is called hormetic stress, the stress that makes you stronger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the body should be toughened, not pampered. That wasn't motivation. That was strategy. Elite athletes use this. Special forces use this. Warriors use this. The Navy SEALs follow the 40% rule. When your mind says you're done, you're actually only at 40% of your real capacity. So say it again, I am stronger than my comfort. Here is your Stoic challenge for the next 7 days. Choose one discomfort each day. A cold shower. Speaking your truth. No sugar, no social media. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Move your body with intention. This is not punishment. This is liberation from dependence. Seneca wrote, let us practice our strokes on the dummy before facing the real enemy. Every act of discomfort is a stroke of training. Every challenge you choose makes you harder to break. Because comfort is not evil, but dependency on comfort is fatal. And if you can master discomfort, you can master anything. Now that the body has been trained, a new test begins. Because when the noise fades and silence finally arrives, your next battle isn't outside, it's inside. Stay with me as we step into Part 5, the silence ritual, where the mind learns to speak with wisdom. Part 5, the silence ritual. Let me ask you something important. When was the last time you truly heard your own thoughts? Not the noise of the world, not the opinions of others, not the voice of fear, but the voice of you. In the modern world, silence has become rare. The moment it appears, we run from it. We open our phones. We play music. We scroll. Digital noise is easier than mental clarity. But Marcus Aurelius reminded us, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. The Stoics didn't see silence as loneliness. They saw it as training. Not emptiness, but the birthplace of clarity. They believe silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of noise. Reset moment, take a slow, deep breath. Say it with me. Noise outside means noise inside. The science behind silence. Neuroscientists at Duke University discovered something remarkable. Just 2 hours of silence per day can increase the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory learning and emotional stability. That means silence doesn't just calm the mind, it strengthens it. Other studies found that even 10 minutes of intentional silence boosts mental clarity and decision-making by over 30%. More than most productivity apps, more than caffeine, more than motivation videos. Silence works because your brain needs space to recover, space to think, space to feel. Reset moment, breathe again. This time, hold it for 2 seconds. Let your nervous system begin to settle. Let your awareness slowly return. The Stoic silence method. 10 minutes a day. Here's how the Stoics practiced it. Sit upright. No phone, no music, no distractions. Breathe naturally, don't force it. Observe your thoughts, don't fight them. Let them rise and let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. Your heart rate slows. Your mental fog clears. Your impulses lose their power. And when the noise fades, your mind begins to speak. Seneca wrote, to be calm is the highest achievement of the self. The goal is not to silence your thoughts. It is to see them clearly and let the unimportant ones fade away. The think week that changed history. When Bill Gates needed clarity, he didn't go on vacation. He didn't chase entertainment. He went into something he called Think Week, 7 days of silence, reading, reflection, and deep thought. No distractions, just space to think. And during one of those silent retreats, he wrote the strategy that transformed Microsoft into one of the most powerful companies on the planet. That wasn't luck. That was silence used as a weapon. Reset moment, say it softly. Silence is not escape. Silence is upgrade. Why people run from silence? Many fear silence because silence is a mirror. It shows them their doubts, their regrets, their fears. But avoiding silence doesn't make fear disappear, it makes fear stronger. Psychologists call this mental avoidance, and studies show that people who constantly distract themselves experience more anxiety, not less. Stoicism teaches the opposite. We must turn toward fear, not away from it. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, even if that means sitting alone with your thoughts. Because only when you face the mind can you begin to lead the mind. The 7-day Stoic Silence Challenge. For the next 7 mornings, sit for 10 minutes in stillness. No distractions. Breathe deeply. Let thoughts rise and fade. Then write down one insight. At first, your brain will resist. It will crave stimulation. It will beg for escape. That's normal. Stay. Because if you stay, your breath will deepen, your thoughts will settle, and your awareness will return like a warrior coming home. This is not meditation. This is mental combat training. As Marcus Aurelius said, wisdom is doing now what your future self will thank you for. Silence is that wisdom, earned with discipline, practiced daily, sharpened like a blade. When silence arrives, you finally hear your mind speak. And once it speaks, you must give it direction, because clarity without action is potential without purpose. And now that your mind is awake, it's time to build momentum. Part 6. Set one. Essential goal. Let me ask you something powerful. When you wake up in the morning, do you have a mission? Or do you just have a morning? Most people don't start their day, they stumble into it. They check notifications. They react to messages. They let the world decide what matters. And by noon, their energy is already gone. But Marcus Aurelius understood something deeper. He wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In other words, if your mind has no direction, everything becomes a distraction. The Stoics believed in one essential goal, not 5, not 10. One clear target that gives the day a purpose. Because clarity isn't a luxury, clarity is a weapon. Reset moment, breathe. Say it softly. One target, one mission, one win today. Neuroscientists discovered that when you give your brain a single focused goal, dopamine rises, decision-making improves, motivation increases. But when you give the mind too many goals, stress rises and motivation collapses. Success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what truly matters first. That's why the Stoics asked every morning, if I only accomplish one thing today, what would make the day meaningful? This simple question kills procrastination and builds something far more powerful, momentum. Because even one small win can change the direction of your entire day, sometimes even your entire life. Reset moment, say it with me. Small wins create big shifts. Let me tell you a story. In the 1992 Olympics, a runner named Derek Redmond tore his hamstring in the middle of his race. He collapsed on the track. Everyone thought he was finished, but slowly he stood up. He began to limp forward, one painful step at a time. His father broke through security and helped him reach the finish line. Derek Redmond finished last, but he received the longest standing ovation in Olympic history. Why? Because momentum isn't about speed. Momentum is about commitment. Marcus Aurelius would have said, what matters is not the finish, but the strength to continue. So here is your 7-day Stoic Momentum Challenge. Each morning, write down one essential goal, then do that one thing first. No distractions, no excuses, just action. 7 days, 7 wins. Momentum will build itself. Say it with me. One step is still forward. And now that your mind has focus, your day has direction. But there is one last ingredient needed to make life feel powerful and meaningful: gratitude. Not as a feeling, but as a training. Not as positivity, but as perspective. And in part 7, we uncover a Stoic technique so profound that it transforms ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Stay with me, because next we explore negative visualization, the gratitude upgrade that rewires your entire view of life. Part 7, practice negative visualization, gratitude upgrade. Let me ask you something real. What if today was the last time you experienced this moment? The last sunrise, the last cup of coffee, the last conversation with someone you love. Would you live today differently? Would you complain less? Would you breathe deeper and simply be grateful that you're here? The Stoics practice something called negative visualization, not to create fear, but to awaken appreciation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. This isn't about death. It's about presence. It's not about mourning life, but learning how to truly live it. Reset moment, take a breath. Say it softly, I could lose this, so I choose to value it. The science behind Stoic gratitude, psychologists call this method negative rehearsal, mentally imagining what life would feel like if something you love suddenly disappeared. And studies found that this approach increases life satisfaction more than journaling or positivity alone. In one experiment, people who imagined losing someone dear felt 34% more appreciation than those who simply listed things they were thankful for. Because gratitude doesn't appear when life is perfect. It appears when we realize things could be lost. The Stoic exercise, every morning, ask yourself, what do I have today that I would deeply miss if it were gone? Your health, your parents, your ambition, even your breath. Let it sink in. Let your chest tighten for a moment. Then let gratitude rise. Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." Because when you cherish what you have, you stop chasing what you don't need. Reset moment, breathe again. Feel your breath enter, feel it leave. That alone is a reason to be grateful. A real story, the survivor's gift. In 1975, mountaineer Joe Simpson fell into a deep ice crevice during a brutal storm in the Andes Mountains. Everyone believed he died, but he survived. He crawled frozen and alone for 3 days, dragging his shattered leg behind him. When he finally reached safety, he said something powerful: "I didn't fear death. But after facing it, every breath became valuable." He didn't just survive, he awakened. This is the true power of negative visualization. Once you sense the possibility of loss, life becomes sharper, richer, more meaningful. The 7-day Stoic Gratitude Challenge. For the next 7 mornings, write one sentence. If I lost a jormi, zasuni, I would miss it deeply. Fill in the blank. Let it hit your heart. Then write one action you will take today to appreciate it. This is not just gratitude. This is Stoic training. Say it with me: I don't need more. I need awareness. Now your vision is clear. Your breath is steady. You're stronger not just on the outside, but within. Yet the Stoics believe that true greatness does not end with the self, because legends aren't remembered for what they achieve, but for what they give. In the final chapter, we unlock the last ritual, living for the common good, the Stoic path to purpose, legacy, and inner peace. Stay with me. We're almost there. Part 8, live for the common good. Let me ask you something profound. If today was your last, would the world be any different? Because you lived not your achievements, not your possessions, but your impact, your presence, the way you lifted others or inspired them. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but he didn't see himself as a king. He saw himself as a servant of humanity. He wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings no benefit to the bee." In Stoicism, greatness isn't measured by how much you take, but by how much you give. Because success fades, but contribution becomes legacy. Reset moment, breathe deeply. Say it quietly: I grow when I help others grow. Scientists studying human happiness at Harvard University found something extraordinary. The happiest people are not those chasing pleasure, but those serving a purpose beyond themselves. They called it the fulfillment effect. Helping others activates serotonin and oxytocin, the chemicals linked to peace, meaning, and longevity. That means serving others doesn't drain your energy, it renews it. This is why the Stoics believe selfishness leads to anxiety. Contribution leads to clarity. There was once a lighthouse keeper responsible for guiding ships safely in the dark. He was given a limited supply of oil to keep the light burning each night. But one by one, villagers came to him asking for oil for cooking, for warmth for their lamps. He gave and gave until one evening he had no oil left to light the lighthouse. That night, several ships crashed on the rocks. Lives were lost, and he realized sometimes helping a few means failing the many. Stoicism isn't about helping blindly. It's about serving wisely. Our goal is not to burn out, but to burn on purpose. Reset moment, breathe. Say it with me. My energy is a tool, not a sacrifice. Ask one question: who can I help today in a way that strengthens us both? A kind word, a piece of advice, a moment of listening, a problem solved. Not for praise, not for reward, but because the world improves one act at a time. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." For the next 5 mornings, write this: today I will contribute by Dari. Fill the blank. Make it real. Watch your identity change from someone who exists to someone who matters. Because one day your achievements will be forgotten, but your impact will live inside others. Reset moment, deep breath. Say it softly: I don't need to be famous. I need to be useful. Stoicism doesn't promise perfection, it promises progress. Every morning is a chance to begin again, stronger, clearer, more grounded. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. And so we return to where we began. Starting over is not weakness, it is rebirth. I will face life with courage. I will choose clarity over comfort. I will serve the common good, and I will rise again. If this message spoke to you, don't just watch it. Live it. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs strength today, and subscribe to Making Life Better so together we build a community of Stoics people who don't run from life but rise to meet it. Because your story isn't over. It's just beginning. And legends are written in mornings like this. Before you go, comment just one powerful word that defines your mindset today. It could be discipline unbreakable. Drop your word below. Let others feel your energy. Let the algorithm carry your message. And let this be the moment you chose to begin again.